blow all the time. The good news, that's the bad news. The good news is that most of the new wind farms, all the new wind farms are going in windy sites where the wind blows at least 65 to 85% of the time. So they're siting them very carefully to get the maximum power out of these facilities. In an area like this with consistent winds, there's more uptime. They run more often, generate a lot more electricity. And what I find intriguing about wind is with wind farms popping up all over the country, the benefit of that is that we can transport this electricity across the nation using the national electric grid. So if the wind's not blowing in Iowa, it's blowing in Illinois, or it's blowing in Missouri, and we can move that electricity around the national electric grid. And they do an awful lot of that already. So this is one of the big advantages, even though wind is variable and it doesn't blow in all places at all times. One of the cool things about the national electric grid is that we can move it around. So we can move it from areas where the wind's blowing, and we can then integrate that with solar as well. So when the sun's shining in Colorado and the wind's blowing in Iowa, we can move that surplus electricity to Nebraska if they need it. So that's one of the exciting things about large-scale wind. Now, solar's doing the same thing. Solar's taking off like crazy. Now, you'll notice that the global solar capacity is about a third of what wind is. So it's growing very rapidly. You can see a nice exponential growth curve. It's growing very, very rapidly, but solar still is about a third of the capacity globally as wind. But you see it's pretty remarkable growth. That's very exciting. This is just in the United States. This is the solar electricity generating capacity here in the States. Now, I just got an update on this for 2014. The projection for 2014 is up here about 16,000. That's how much it's grown just in 1 year, from 10,000 megawatts to 16,000, 15,900 megawatts. Massive growth, rapid growth, extremely exciting. The growth rate from 2000 to 2006 to 2010 was 58%. Per year. The growth rate in 2011 was 74% a year. That meant in that 1 year, it nearly doubled in that 1 year. Growth capacity in 2000, the global capacity is about 100,000 megawatts, okay? The projected growth by 2020 is 1 million megawatts, so 10 times more than we have right now. And if you take a piece of graph paper and you plot the growth of solar and wind, we're on target. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but we're on target for 80% of our energy from renewable resources by the year 2050. Okay? Let me say that again. And hopefully there's no oil people or coal people in here, but at the current rate of growth, if it continues, okay, and these are always dangerous when you extrapolate because all kinds of things can happen. Political power can change and so on and so forth. But in any event, we're at the current rate of growth, we're on target for 80% of our energy, electrical energy from renewables by the year 2050. That's exciting, yes?
I don't know if everyone knows, but the XL pipeline was voted down to
the Keystone.
So it's a good news.
Very good news. Now, one of the reasons solar has taken off is this graph right here, is the cost has plummeted. You know, the cost of solar electricity in the 70s was about $77 a watt. It's now down to 75 cents a watt. So dramatic decrease in prices due to mass production, primarily due to mass production, which has made solar extremely affordable. Now, here's some interesting statistics about the solar industry. Even starting in 2008, when the nation hit this economic downturn, solar grew by 3,000% in that horrid time when our economy was just tanking. Okay, the U.S. has now 15,900 megawatts of installed capacity. The solar industry itself has grown from 15,000 employees in 2005 to over 143,000 employees today. There are over 6,100 companies in the United States and all 50 states involved in solar, either solar installation, solar manufacturing. So it's definitely a growth industry, and most of it is small business. Now, here's the exciting news. So we got the same thing happening with solar. As we've got rapid growth, massive growth, and we also have tremendous economics. This is what has amazed me is even without any incentives, and there's currently a 30% federal tax credit. Okay, so even without any incentives, we can generate solar electricity in most locations at a price that's cost competitive with your utility. Okay, so about 10 cents a kilowatt hour. Most of you, if you're from a big city, are paying 10 to 12 cents a kilowatt hour. Even some of the rural electric co-ops are currently charging 10 cents a kilowatt hour. If you're from the coast, you could be paying up to 30 cents a kilowatt hour. If you're from the East Coast, from the West Coast, 30 cents. If from Hawaii, is 45 cents or 25 cents a kilowatt hour. If you're on the East Coast, it's 17 cents a kilowatt hour. So digest this. Even without any subsidies, we can now generate electricity at the same cost or cheaper than the major utilities. Now, currently there's a 30% federal tax credit, which brings the price down to about 7 cents a kilowatt hour. So right now we're creating electricity cheaper than most utilities in the United States. That's the lifetime cost of electricity. That's exciting news. When I first started in this, I put a 1,000 watt solar system on my house. It cost $16,000. Okay, now you can put that same system on for about $3,500. The price has come down that much.